Difficult days at Tranmere at the moment, but it's only the players who can make the difference.
Yeah, exactly that. I don't think it's a time for blaming and digging people out, because we've all got to stick together and pull ourselves through it. Obviously the other night was massively frustrating, because I thought for 60 minutes before the red card that it wasn't a brilliant performance, but it was a performance that we needed, and I fully think if we stay with 11 men on the pitch, we win the game 1-0 there.
You're not going to get brilliant performances at the moment. Football doesn't work that way. It's gradual steps of improvement, and you have to try and take some elements of positivity from midweek, even though it ended in carnage. There were elements, as you have pointed out, for the thick end of an hour, maybe more, where you were exerting some authority.
Yeah, and I think that's followed through from Saturday. I thought we were a lot better on Saturday. Obviously, again, another poor goal on our behalf, but I was obviously on the bench on Saturday for first half. We were very good. Disappointed, obviously, to lose Key, so I had to come on at half time, and I thought we thoroughly deserved to win the game on Saturday against Gillingham. So we had that little bit of confidence going into the game on Tuesday, a little bit more of a different game plan, because obviously, as you know, the away record hasn't been great this season for us, so it was a bit of a different game plan, and I thought the game plan was working brilliantly up until obviously we go down to 10, and then it was backs against the wall. We were backs against the wall a little bit, but they wasn't hurting us, and we knew, and we were setting our shape, and I don't think they had many chances at all until we go down to 10, and then it's so hard to try and shuffle across and keep your shape when you're down to 10, and then it gives them a little bit of a lift, and they sort of put a little bit more pressure on us, and then it was so difficult to concede the goals late on like we did.
The sending off, certainly the amount of them, have become a problem, and you've been on the wrong end in one match for two yellows, and when things aren't going well, sometimes players can get anxious, and a bit of desperation, can seep in, and it's about trying to get that balance, isn't it? Because keeping 11 men on the field at all times is imperative, really. Yeah,
it is, especially when we're in the situation we're in, when confidence is low, and as you said, the performances haven't been great. So when the confidence is as low as it is, you need 11 men on the pitch, and the gaffer's touched on it this morning in the meeting. When it comes to discipline, he's massive on discipline, and obviously myself, I'm not going to start coming up with excuses and blaming referees, but myself's been involved in 2 yellow cards, and other players have obviously, I don't know how many it is, but it can happen, and it needs to be addressed, which it has been, and yeah, as I said, we need all the help we can get at the minute, so then if we lose a player, it's so much harder to compete and try and win games with a man down.
It's all about what happens on the field always, but so much is about the dressing room at times like these. You're an experienced player, you've played for numerous clubs at different levels, and trying to pass on lessons, football life lessons of things to do at different times. They can be invaluable, but sometimes when things go badly wrong, people want to stay in their own space sometimes.
Yeah, and as I touched on at the start of the interview, it's not a time to be pointing fingers and blaming people. If it's not going so well for someone, we need to rally round them, we need to get round them, which I think we have with Josh. Obviously, I know Josh done the interview on Tuesday after the game. I thought he was very good on Tuesday. He's been out for a long time, made up he got his goal, whether he meant it was a cross or a shot, it's enough for me to say, but I made up he's got the goal there, and hopefully he kicks on now, because he's a big presence, and he can be good for us at the minute with the injuries we've got. He can be good for us in holding the ball up and sort of keeping hold of the ball for us and getting us up the pitch in the situation we are. But yeah, with regards to the changes, we've got an experienced group in there. It's not as if we're full of kids and there's a few experienced lads who need to try and help them through it. We've got experience in the changing room, and I think I've touched on it in previous interviews. We've got a lot of lads who've had promotions out of leagues in there. I'm not sure on relegations, but I said in the changes I had a little piece to say, and a few of the experienced lads after the game did, but I've never been relegated, I've never been really in this situation before, and I'm not about to start having a relegation on my CV.
Because it's tough territory, isn't it? When the scrap for points, it's not about whether you go up a place, you know, to the playoff positions. It's so much more important than that. But at the same time, it's about not trying to put too much pressure on people, because pressure can lead to, you know, to more mistakes, unforced errors, and it is that balance element. But everybody's got to be rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, and as I touched on there, it comes down to confidence. I can see it myself in certain games. I know you've mentioned that I'm quite experienced, but I can see it in games where we're clearing balls or clipping balls down the channel, and when we don't really need to. But that again comes down to confidence on the pitch and results of late. I know we can be better on the ball. Same touch on Tuesday night. I know there was times where I know we were under a lot of pressure, but times we've had the ball and just cleared it up the pitch, and we're just giving the ball back to them, and then we're back in the shape. I think at times we can be better, but then I was thinking in the meeting this morning, the gaffer talks about performing well under what does he say? Under pressure and under fatigue. The gaffer says all the time, performing brilliantly under pressure and fatigue, and I feel like that's so hard to coach. You can do so much work on the training ground.
It's a mindset, isn't
about your passing and about moving the ball and possession, but nothing replicates it on a Saturday in front of fans when your back's against the wall and you're up against it. So that's, I think, what we need to improve on massively, which sort of comes down to game management as well. Is there's when to clear the ball and get us up the pitch, or when to be like, right, I think we can keep it here and have a spell on the ball and stop letting them come and attack us. But yeah, as I said, it's a tough one because you can't teach that, so we just have to learn from our mistakes. I know it sounds like a broken record, but we have to learn from the things we're doing wrong and improve on it.
Because getting into shape when the opposition have got the ball is vital, but when you've got the ball, movement off it and space and availability to give the player different passing lanes and options, it's equally as vital.
Yeah. As a midfielder, for me, the run makes the pass. You hear everyone say, what a great pass that was, but for me, the run makes the pass, because if I'm in the middle of the pitch and I look up and there's no movement and there's no options, I can't make that pass. Whereas if I catch eye contact with someone and someone makes a run off the back of the shoulder of someone, I know that that's where the ball's going to go. So I can't play that pass until I see the movement from that player. So it is, it's exactly that. The movement off the ball and being an option for people when you can tell someone's struggling on the ball and he hasn't got many options. Just that little 2-yard movement where, I'll receive it, pass me the ball. I think we need to work on that on the pitch as well again. You can only do so much on the training ground, so I feel sorry for the coaches and the manager, because they're doing all they can on the training ground. It just, as you said at the start of the meeting, it boils down to the players on the pitch.
Yeah, and as well as that, in those situations, when things aren't going well, and you're a footballer, you've been a footballer for a long time, you know that sometimes, because of a lack of confidence, players hide occasionally. They don't want the ball. Not that they don't want. It's not like I don't want the ball. But just at times, it's at that split second where they're not making those movements that they should be to give passing options to.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that again. I keep repeating it. The word confidence and the results that we've had at the minute, that might affect certain players. I'm not saying it does, because it's me doing the interview here, so I can't talk for anyone else. I don't feel like I've ever hid away or not wanted to receive the ball, regardless of where we are in the table or how results have been going, or even how many players I've got around me. Sometimes I'll always try and receive the ball, and I'll always try and make something happen. So I can't really comment on other people if that's for the fans or people. That's a game of opinions, isn't it? That's for other people's opinion to say, oh, he was shying away today, or he didn't look interested.
I don't think players do it intentionally.
No.
It's just the lack of confidence that you've mentioned. It inhibits.
Of course, yeah, it affects decisions. Yeah, as I said, that it affects decisions, like as in clearing the ball when we could keep it and things like that. But then hiding away and not wanting the ball, as I said, I can't comment on that, because I've never done that in my life.
So what's going to make the difference now? It's the wins, and turning the draws into victories and and you know, maybe getting a draw away from home when you've been used to losing matches?
Yeah, I think it will be. I think the home form's been pretty good. I think we're good at home. So I know we're at home on Saturday, try and get a positive result on Saturday, and then I think we're away to Salford. Yeah, it needs to change. The away form needs to change, because we can't keep carrying on relying on our home form. I don't think that, I'm not sure how it works, because as I said, I've never really been involved in a bottom of the table scrap, so I'm not sure if you need a certain amount of games at home. I'm not sure of the maths on it, whether it does secure you properly, but regardless of all that, we need to just start winning or picking results up away from home, and once we start doing that, it'll take the pressure off the home form then, because we can't keep relying on being good at home. We know we're good at home, and we know the fans are there for us and driving us on at home, so we can't keep relying on that. We need to get better away from home.
It can be a really difficult place for the opposition. Prenton Park, when things are going well, it's a fabulous place to play football, and there's a real proper atmosphere about the place. And obviously it hasn't been great for the fans recently, but you know, one win, it's a stepping stone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's all you need to, you know, to kickstart and start making a little bit of progress.
No, it is. It's massive. As I said, we don't want to rely on the home form, because we can't keep saying, yeah, we're good at home, because we need to get better away from home, as I've touched on there. But I think part of our home form being that good is because of Prenton Park. Now look, the times haven't been great, and you do hear everything. You do hear the moans and groans, which is rightly so, because...
Is that hard?
I don't know whether I've touched on it before, and it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me, because I know on the pitch what I'm trying to do, and as you said, I've been in the game long enough. I've been involved in atmospheres that are not nice to play in, but it's probably hard for the group of players, yeah, because it's not nice when your own fans are on your back, because you don't want, they're your fans, they're the people who come to support you. So I can imagine it being not nice for certain players who that might affect, but as I said, it doesn't affect me. But then at the same time, you've got every right to be doing that, because it's a working class community, and I'm from a working class background, where when you go out and pay your money to go and watch the team that you love, if it's not performing, you've got every right to vent your anger, because you're paying the money to come and watch. But it hasn't always been like that. There's been certain games that are like that, but they know that, you can tell that they know that we're trying, and the effort's there. It's just been a little bit of lack of quality on the pitch that has let us down in certain games.
But every game's an opportunity, isn't it? And Colchester, we know, decent side, but you know, they're not world beaters.
Yeah.
And if you can get about them, keep things tight early on, it's all about just making the most of your opportunities, really, and having that, which is difficult when you're struggling, having that freedom, that self-belief to do what you can do.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is world beaters in this league this season. I've only had one season in League Two. And it was similar where Forest Green, the season I had in League Two, Forest Green ran away with it, and I think they got promoted with 5 or 6 games to go, but then sort of fell off, and we got promoted on the last day of the season. But it's sort of similar now with the Walsall situation. Now, we played against Walsall twice now, and I know they beat us quite easily. I got sent off in the game, but I didn't think they were unbelievable. I haven't played against a team this season where I've thought, you know what, they're very good then. So I don't think it's anyone's league to go and win. There isn't a standout side, so I don't think there's any world beaters in the league. So I think if we put a run together of games with the home form and then start turning the away form round, I think we can easily start climbing the table, because I know personally, I've been involved in numerous teams. I know this group shouldn't be where it is.